make correct sentences in English. So let's get started. A sentence is any group of words that are linked together according to the rules of grammar of a language and that express a complete idea or a thought. That means that two things are important in a sentence. Number one, the grammar rules, the most common of which in English is putting the subject of a sentence first, then the verb, and then the object. And number two, expressing a complete idea. We have four groups of words on the screen. The first group of words, John writes books, is a complete sentence because it is according to the grammar rules of the English language. The second and the third sentences are not complete sentences because they neither express a complete idea nor are they linked together according to the rules of the English grammar. The last sentence, on the other hand, follows all the grammar rules and expresses a meaningful idea as well. Now, every sentence has two parts, a subject and a predicate. A subject is a person, place, thing, or an idea that performs the action in the sentence. For instance, in the sentence, John writes books. John is the person who is writing books, so John is the subject of this sentence. A predicate is basically all the other words except the subject in a sentence. This means that it describes the subject and it has a verb which is the action performed in the sentence and the object, something on which the action is performed. The words writes books in the first sentence on the screen describe the word John. So John is the subject of this sentence and writes books is the predicate of this sentence. On the basis of the nature of the statement, a sentence is divided into four types. A declarative sentence only states a fact or an argument, but the interrogative sentence asks a question and has a question mark at the end of the sentence. And if a sentence makes a polite request or command, it's the imperative sentence. However, if a sentence conveys certain emotions or strong feelings, it is exclamatory sentence and it usually ends with an exclamation mark. Now the final and the most important part of this video, how to structure a sentence. To structure a sentence correctly, we need to understand what a clause is and how it works. A clause is any group of words that includes a subject and a verb, and it is divided into dependent and independent clauses. An independent or the main clause is much like a regular sentence and it can stand alone as a meaningful sentence. However, a dependent or a subordinate clause cannot stand alone as a meaningful sentence and it is dependent on the main clause. The reason it is not a complete sentence is that it leaves the thought incomplete. That is why it is joined with connecting words called subordinators, which show that this is a subordinate clause. These sentences have both dependent and independent clauses. The words written in blue cannot stand alone as complete sentences because they do not convey a meaningful and complete idea, and that is why they are dependent on the words written in red. The knowledge of these clauses is essential in forming correct sentences. A simple sentence is the one that has only one independent clause conveying a single idea. It is usually a short sentence. A compound sentence, however, has two independent clauses joined together with a coordinating conjunction. There are only 7 coordinating conjunctions in English: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. An easy way to remember this is the word fanboys. One common mistake, which is called a comma splice, is joining two independent clauses with this comma without any conjunction. So to form compound sentences, you always need to join two independent clauses with a coordinating conjunction. Another structure is a complex sentence. It contains an independent clause and at least one dependent clause. In this sentence, the words written in green, although he failed in the interview, do not convey a complete idea and have a subordinator, although. That is why this is a subordinate clause. And the words written in red can stand alone as a meaningful sentence. That is why they form an independent clause. The last structure of a sentence is a compound complex sentence. It has more than two independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. In this sentence, there are two independent clauses written in red and one dependent clause written in green.